Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Every woman needs a little mystery. See, the problem is sometimes you all want to open up like a book and lay everything out there. But let me ask you, when's the last time you were excited to read a book when you already knew the ending? Exactly. In every great story, every unforgettable romance, and every legendary love affair, there is always one thing that keeps it exciting. Mystery. The unknown is what sparks curiosity. It is what keeps a man intrigued, always wanting more, always reaching for the next chapter. And yet, so many women feel the need to lay everything out on the table from the very beginning, thinking that complete transparency is the way to win a man's heart. But let me tell you something. Mystery is the very thing that keeps the magic alive. Now, when I say mystery, I don't mean deception. I don't mean playing mind games or being dishonest. No, what I mean is holding on to that essence of surprise, that little bit of intrigue that makes a man lean in closer. It's about understanding that a man is naturally drawn to what he doesn't fully understand, to what he has to work for, to what keeps him guessing just enough to stay engaged. And if you give him everything too soon, where's the thrill? Where's the chase? Think about it like this. Imagine you walk into a movie, and before the first scene even starts, somebody hands you a paper with all the spoilers, the twists, the turns, the surprises, all written out for you. Now tell me, would you still enjoy that movie the same way? Probably not, because the beauty of the story isn't just in the ending, it's in the journey, it's in the anticipation, the excitement, the slow reveal of what's to come. A relationship is no different. A woman who understands how to keep just a little bit of mystery about her is the kind of woman who keeps a man on his toes. She knows how to reveal things in layers, in moments, in ways that make him feel like he's always discovering something new about her. And that right there is the secret. Because the moment a man feels like he's figured you out completely, like there's nothing left to uncover, that's when things start to feel routine. That's when the excitement starts to fade. See, men are natural hunters. It's in their DNA. From the beginning of time, they've been wired to chase, to pursue, to conquer. And the moment something is too easily given, it loses value in their eyes. Now, don't get me wrong, a good man will still love and respect you, even if you're open from the start. But if you want to keep him intrigued, if you want to keep that spark alive, you have to give him something to work for. You have to make sure that he never feels like he has the full map to who you are. Now, let's talk about what mystery actually looks like. Because some women think that means being distant, unavailable, or hard to reach. That's not what I'm saying. Mystery isn't about making a man feel like he's chasing a ghost. It's about giving him just enough to keep him coming back for more. It's about not oversharing too soon, about allowing things to unfold naturally, instead of handing over the entire book in the first conversation. For example, when a man asks about your life, don't feel the need to spill every detail right away. Give him a little bit, let him get a glimpse, but leave some things to be discovered later. If he asks about your dreams, don't just list them all out. Talk about one. Let him get curious. Let him ask more questions over time. If he asks about your past, you don't have to tell him every heartbreak, every mistake, every lesson learned in one sitting. Share what's necessary, but let him learn about you through experience, through moments, through time. Another thing about mystery, it's not just in what you say, but in how you carry yourself. A woman who holds an air of mystery about her walks with a different kind of confidence. She doesn't feel the need to over-explain, to justify, to constantly seek validation. She knows who she is, and she allows a man to discover that piece by piece. She doesn't post every thought, every move, every feeling on social media. She lets people wonder. She lets a man think about her when she's not around, to ask himself questions, to be intrigued by what's behind that smile, that energy, that presence. Men love a woman who has depth, who has layers, who surprises them in ways they didn't expect. And mystery is what allows that to happen. One day he thinks he knows everything about you, and then boom, you surprise him with a new skill, a hidden talent, a different side of your personality that he hadn't seen before. That's what keeps a relationship fresh. That's what makes a man feel like he's always learning, always growing, always discovering something new with you. Mystery also gives a woman power, because the less predictable you are, the less a man can take you for granted. When a woman makes herself completely available, when she shares every thought, every plan, every detail of her life without hesitation, a man starts to feel like he doesn't have to put in as much effort. But when you keep a little bit of mystery, when you make him wonder, when you make him earn your time, your attention, your energy, that's when he values it more. And let's talk about attraction for a second. There's something undeniably attractive about a woman who doesn't lay all her cards on the table at once. Think about the most captivating people you've met in life. Chances are they had an element of mystery to them. They made you curious. They made you lean in, ask questions, want to know more. That's the kind of energy that keeps a man engaged. That's the kind of energy that makes a man work to be part of your world. Now, some women hear this and think, well, if a man really loves me, shouldn't I be able to be completely open from the start? And the answer is, of course you should be able to be yourself. But being yourself doesn't mean you have to be an open book right away. It means you allow yourself to unfold naturally. It means you don't rush the process. It means you let the relationship build in a way that keeps both of you invested. At the end of the day, mystery is about pacing. It's about understanding that love isn't built in a single moment. It's built over time. And the more you allow things to unfold at the right pace, the more exciting, the more passionate, and the more long-lasting the connection will be. Because when a man feels like there's always something new to discover, he never stops searching, never stops chasing, never stops falling for you all over again. Money is one of the most powerful forces in a relationship. It can bring people together, but it can also drive them apart. And if there's one thing every woman should understand, it's this: your finances are your business. No matter how much you love a man, no matter how committed you are, there are certain things about your money that should always remain private. See, financial independence isn't just about having your own money. It's about having control over your own life, your own choices, and your own future. Now let's be real. Society has always had an opinion about women and money. For generations, women were expected to rely on men financially. They were told to depend on their husbands, to let a man take the lead when it came to money matters. But times have changed. Women are bosses, CEOs, entrepreneurs, and providers. They're running businesses, making investments, and securing their financial futures. And with that power comes the responsibility of protecting what you have. The moment you reveal too much about your finances to a man, You give him a level of control that he may not even deserve. And I'm not saying all men have bad intentions, some don't. But money changes people. It shifts dynamics, influences decisions, and can sometimes reveal a side of someone you didn't even know existed. That's why, as a woman, you should always keep certain financial details to yourself. Now, some women might think, well, if I'm in a serious relationship, shouldn't I be able to share everything with my partner? Listen, there's a difference between financial transparency and financial vulnerability. Yes, in a marriage or long-term committed relationship, discussions about money are important. You should be able to communicate about financial goals, responsibilities, and future plans. But that doesn't mean you have to hand over the blueprint to your entire financial situation. For example, let's say you've got savings tucked away, money that you've worked hard for, money that you've been putting aside for years. Does your man really need to know exactly how much is in that account? Absolutely not. Because the moment he knows, things can change. He may not say it out loud, but suddenly he might start factoring your money into his decisions. He might assume you can cover certain expenses or contribute more than you should. Or worse, he might start feeling intimidated, insecure, or entitled to what you have. And don't even get me started on lending money. One of the biggest mistakes a woman can make is feeling obligated to bail a man out financially. Now, I'm not saying you should never support your partner, but there's a fine line between being supportive and being used. Some men see a financially stable woman and immediately look at her as an opportunity. They start borrowing here and there, making promises to pay back, and before you know it, your savings have disappeared. This is why you have to protect your financial boundaries. If a man is struggling financially, that is his situation to figure out, not yours to fix. A real man won't put you in a position where you feel obligated to take care of him. He won't pressure you to share your money, your credit, or your financial resources. If anything, he'll respect your independence and want to contribute just as much, if not more. Now, let's talk about the other side of the coin. Maybe you're not the one with a lot of money. Maybe you're still building, still growing, still working your way up. And that's fine. But even then, you don't need to reveal every financial struggle you have to a man. See, when you tell a man that you're struggling financially, you put yourself in a vulnerable position. Some men will see that as an opportunity to control you, to dictate how you live, to make decisions for you because they think you need them. Money has power, and whoever controls the money often controls the relationship. That's why financial independence is one of the greatest forms of freedom a woman can have. When you have your own money, you have options. You have the ability to walk away from situations that no longer serve you. You have the power to make decisions that are best for you without feeling trapped or obligated to stay because of financial dependency. And let's be clear, financial independence doesn't mean you have to be rich. It doesn't mean you have to be a millionaire or have stacks of money in the bank. It simply means that you know how to take care of yourself. It means you have a plan, a strategy, a mindset that ensures you are never in a position where you are fully dependent on a man to survive. Now, some women think that a man will respect them more if they share their financial details early on. But the truth is, men respect what they have to work for. If he knows too much too soon, if he knows exactly how much you make, how much you save, how much you invest, you take away the mystery, the challenge, and the natural balance of the relationship. Instead of wondering about your value, he starts calculating it. Instead of appreciating you for who you are, he starts thinking about what you can provide. Another thing, stop putting your financial business out on social media. Some women make the mistake of broadcasting their success, their salary, their expensive purchases, and then wonder why certain men suddenly start showing interest. Let me tell you something. Some men are hunters, and when they see a woman who is financially well off, they see an opportunity. They see a situation where they can benefit. And the last thing you need is a man pretending to love you just because he sees dollar signs. A smart woman moves in silence when it comes to her money. She doesn't brag, she doesn't overshare, and she doesn't make financial decisions based on emotion. She saves, she invests, she builds, and she keeps certain things to herself. And if she does enter a serious relationship, she still maintains financial boundaries. She has separate accounts. She makes sure her name is on the assets she owns, and she never puts herself in a situation where she has to rely solely on a man for security. At the end of the day, a woman who controls her finances controls her future. And when you understand the power of keeping your financial business to yourself, you protect not just your money, but your peace, your independence, and your ability to make decisions without anyone else holding the reins. Every person, no matter how confident they appear on the outside, carries insecurities within them. Some are small, like worrying about a bad hair day or feeling unsure about an outfit choice. Others run deeper, rooted in childhood experiences, past relationships, or personal struggles. But here's the truth. Your deepest insecurities should not be put on full display for a man, not because you need to hide who you are, but because how you handle your insecurities determines how others, especially a man, will perceive and treat you. See, confidence is one of the most attractive qualities a person can have. A woman who walks into a room knowing her worth, knowing she doesn't need validation from anyone, commands attention without even trying. But the moment you lead with your insecurities, the moment you make them the center of how you interact with a man, you shift the balance. Instead of being seen as a strong, desirable woman, you start being seen as someone who needs to be fixed, reassured, or in some cases manipulated. Now let's be clear. Everyone has the right to express their feelings, to talk about their struggles, and to seek support. But the problem comes when you make your insecurities the foundation of a relationship. When you meet a man and immediately start telling him all the things you don't like about yourself, you're not just opening up, you're giving him a blueprint on how to handle you. And unfortunately, not every man will handle that with care. Some men will use your insecurities against you. If a man knows you're insecure about your appearance, he may subtly make comments to keep you feeling self-conscious, so you never feel good enough to leave. If he knows you struggle with self-worth, he may manipulate you into thinking he's the only one who will ever love you. If he knows you fear abandonment, he may play games with your emotions, pulling away just enough to keep you chasing his validation. This is why guarding your deepest insecurities isn't about deception, it's about protection. Now, let's talk about some common insecurities women face and why they shouldn't be handed over to a man on a silver platter. Let's start with one of the biggest insecurities women have: appearance. Society constantly tells women they need to look a certain way to be considered beautiful, whether it's weight, skin, hair, height, or any other physical feature. Every woman has had a moment where she felt she wasn't good enough. But here's the thing. When you constantly point out your flaws to a man, you train him to see them too. If you keep saying, I hate my stomach, I wish my legs were longer, or I don't look good without makeup, he might not have even noticed those things before, but now he does. A man takes cues from you on how to see you. If you carry yourself with confidence, he will see you as beautiful. If you pick yourself apart, he will start to view you through that same critical lens. A confident woman owns who she is. She doesn't apologize for her body, her face, or her unique features. And the truth is, when a woman loves herself, it makes her 10 times more attractive. Everyone has a past. Maybe you've made mistakes. Maybe you've been in toxic relationships. Maybe you've been hurt. But just because you have a history doesn't mean you need to hand every detail of it over to a man, especially early on. Some women think that by confessing everything, every heartbreak, every bad decision, every regret, they're being open and honest. But what they're actually doing is giving a man unnecessary power over them. Some men will use your past against you, making you feel like you have to prove you've changed or that you're lucky they even gave you a chance. Others may judge you unfairly, even though they have their own history. A wise woman knows that the past is just that, the past. She shares what's necessary, but she doesn't let it define her. She doesn't bring up old wounds in a way that makes her seem broken or in need of saving. She stands in the present knowing she has grown, learned, and evolved. One of the biggest mistakes a woman can make is looking to a man for validation. If you don't believe you're enough, no amount of compliments, love, or reassurance will ever fill that void. A man should compliment your confidence, not be responsible for creating it. When you constantly seek validation from a man, asking if he still loves you, if he finds you attractive, if you're good enough, you put yourself in a vulnerable position. Instead of being his equal, you become someone who needs to be reassured constantly. And trust me, that gets exhausting for both people. A man is drawn to a woman who knows she is enough. She doesn't need him to remind her every 5 minutes. She doesn't base her self-worth on his attention or affection. She is secure in who she is, whether he is in the picture or not. Fear of being alone is one of the biggest reasons women stay in unhealthy relationships. When a man senses that you're afraid of being alone, he knows you'll tolerate things you shouldn't. He knows that no matter what he does, you won't leave because your fear of being alone is greater than your standard. A woman who isn't afraid to be alone moves differently. She doesn't beg for love. She doesn't settle for breadcrumbs. She knows that being alone is better than being with someone who doesn't value her. And because she carries herself with that energy, men respect her more. Some women doubt their intelligence, their talents, or their ability to succeed. Maybe you've been told you're not good enough, or maybe you compare yourself to others too much. But when you voice these doubts to a man, he will either reassure you or start believing them himself. A confident woman owns her intelligence. She doesn't shrink herself or dumb herself down to make a man feel comfortable. She doesn't seek approval before chasing her goals. She moves with confidence, knowing that she is capable, smart, and worthy of success. At the end of the day, it's not about pretending to be perfect. It's about carrying yourself in a way that commands respect. You don't have to share every insecurity, every fear, every moment of self-doubt with a man to build a connection. Real confidence isn't about having no insecurities. It's about not letting them define you. And when you carry yourself with that kind of self-assurance, the right man will see you as the strong, powerful woman you are. Everyone has a past. It's a collection of experiences, lessons, and moments that shape who we are today. Some of those moments are beautiful, filled with joy, love, and triumph. Others are painful, marked by mistakes, heartbreak, and regrets. But no matter what your past looks like, one thing is certain: not every detail needs to be shared, especially with the man. See, a lot of women make the mistake of thinking that full disclosure is the key to intimacy. They believe that in order to build a strong connection with a man, they need to tell him everything. Every heartbreak, every failure, every wrong decision they've ever made. But the truth is, oversharing your past can do more harm than good. There's a fine line between being open and being vulnerable in a way that gives a man unnecessary power over you. Now, let's be clear. This isn't about deception. It's not about lying or hiding who you are. It's about understanding that some things are sacred. Some things belong to you and you alone. And just because a man asks about your past doesn't mean he has the right to know every little detail. When you start telling a man every intimate detail about your past, you're giving him a blueprint of your weaknesses, your triggers, and your insecurities. You might think you're being honest, but in reality, you could be setting yourself up to be judged, pitied, or worst of all, manipulated. Some men will take that information and use it against you. If he knows you've been cheated on before, he might test your trust just to see how far he can push you. If he knows you've been in toxic relationships, he might assume you'll tolerate more than you should. If he knows you've made certain mistakes, he might remind you of them in arguments to weaken your confidence. Not every man will do this, but why even take that risk? A wise woman knows that her past is her business and she shares it selectively, not as a confession, but as a conscious choice when the time is right. One of the biggest mistakes women make is feeling the need to detail every past relationship: who they dated, how long they were together, what went wrong, how many partners they've had. The list goes on. But here's the reality. A man does not need to know every single thing about your romantic past. Men are naturally territorial. Even if they say they're open-minded, hearing too much about your past relationships can create unnecessary problems. If you tell him about every man you've ever loved, he might start comparing himself to them. If you mention past mistakes, he might start wondering if you'll repeat them. If you shared too much about your ex, he might start questioning whether you're truly over him. A man should be focused on who you are now, not who you used to be. And if he keeps pressing for details about your past relationships, ask yourself, why does he need to know? What does he gain from that information? More importantly, what do you gain from sharing it? We've all made mistakes. Maybe you've trusted the wrong people. Maybe you've made choices you regret. Maybe you've gone through phases in life that you aren't proud of. But those mistakes are yours. They are part of your growth, not ammunition for someone else to use against you. Some women feel like they need to confess their past wrongs to be accepted. They think if he really loves me, he'll accept everything about me. And while that may be true, not every man is capable of handling every piece of your past with maturity and understanding. If you've changed, if you've grown, if you've learned from your experiences, that's what matters. You don't need to prove to anyone how far you've come by dragging out every skeleton from your closet. Growth is shown through action, not explanation. Many women carry wounds from the past, childhood struggles, family issues, past abuse, or deep emotional pain. And while it's important to heal from those wounds, it's just as important to be careful about who you share them with. Some men will genuinely care and support you, but others will see your past pain as an opportunity to control you. They may act as if they're there to help, but in reality, they use your past trauma as a way to keep you dependent on them. Healing is a personal journey. It's okay to share parts of your past when you feel safe, when you've built trust, and when you know it won't be used against you. But unloading your deepest wounds too soon can put you in a vulnerable position before you even know if a man is worthy of carrying that weight with you. There's a certain power in keeping parts of yourself private. When you don't reveal everything, you maintain a sense of mystery. And mystery is attractive. It keeps people intrigued, keeps them interested, keeps them wanting to know more. When a man feels like he has uncovered everything about you too soon, the excitement fades. There's nothing left to discover. But when you maintain an air of mystery, when you let him earn the right to know deeper parts of you over time, the relationship builds in a way that is healthier and more balanced. A confident woman doesn't feel the need to explain every detail of her past because she knows that who she is today is enough. She doesn't need to justify where she's been, and she doesn't seek approval for the choices she's made. Some men will ask about your past out of curiosity. Others will ask because they want to gauge your worth based on their own standards. Either way, you don't owe anyone full access to your history. When a man asks about your past, it's okay to set boundaries. If he asks about your exes, keep it vague. I've had relationships that taught me a lot. If he asks about mistakes you've made, keep it simple. I've learned a lot from my past. If he pushes for details, remember, you are not required to give them. Not every question deserves an answer. A man who truly values you will respect your boundaries. He will focus on who you are now, not on who you used to be. Your past is yours. Your past is a part of you, but it does not define you. It is not something you owe to anyone, especially not in too much detail. What matters most is who you are now, the woman you've become, the lessons you've learned, and the life you are building. Your past is a part of you, but it does not define you. Share it wisely, protect your peace, and remember that not every detail needs to be disclosed. Focus on who you are now, not who you used to be. The right person will value your present, not judge your history.